Alrighty, third time's a charm. I am in my 22 rather, Ford Bronco. I just received it on basically the 5th or 6th of July. And now I'm going to Oshkosh via the Chicago drive, and I just dropped my dog off at my parents', and I had to circle back and get the Easy Pass sticker doodad for the windshield. Hopefully that stays put. It's 8 o'clock. I expect to arrive around 2 or 3 in the morning wherever I end up staying for the night. No real plan. Might get a hotel, might just jump in the back. We shall see. It's kind of I've got a ticket to show up Saturday for the EAA Airventure air show at Oshkosh. Today is, of course, the 29th of July. So I'm leaving Mishawaka, Indiana, and I am heading west. I tried to live stream this, but apparently I'm not that special. YouTube was like, no thanks. You don't get to live stream via cellular data because you're not special. It's like, oh, thank you. I did have some noise. I am using a Rode clip-on mic, a hot shoe mic, or a cold shoe mic rather. And it is not exactly pointed at me, and it is on a mount that is, to be honest, not terribly well tethered. Wouldn't have worked the way I want to use it, but it's one of these cell phone twist mounts from Manfrotto. They're a camera company that does various tripods and whatnot, book bags and storage solutions for high-end cameras and camera gear. So I've been tinkering with it, but I haven't really used it in this context. So just to my right, your left, I have a Duluth Trading Post or Trading Company seat cover that I just installed. I sent them to the Discord for the All-Terrain Nation, but I haven't put them anywhere else. My auto headlights just went on, so that's fun. Been not really investigating, but kind of experiencing those. They're hit and miss. They're not exactly the most consistent system that I've seen, but I haven't seen many. Just kind of rolling my way towards Chicago. I got a couple things for the truck. I did get a wrap material from 3M from some company in New York. I think it's R Vinyl is the company, off of Amazon. It's I think a 1 foot or 2 foot by 5 foot length of roll. I'm going to be doing some I am no wrap expert or artist or anything like that, but I am wanting to color certain areas of the truck. I'm not gonna let that out right away. I'll probably unveil it as soon as I get it done, but I haven't really said much about it. Nice Volvo. The C30 in white, those are kind of rare. And I'll have some sun in my face shortly. Again, the sun visors on these Broncos leave a little to be desired. You can pull them down to a certain extent, but any further than this and they start blocking your view of the whole windshield, which is kind of funny. I don't think they really thought that one out terribly well. I really like what Jonathan Ward does with the Icon 4x4 BRs, the 66 through 77 Broncos. high standard, as he likes to say. Those are $150,000 to $200,000 rigs. So I think he's had some slight influences on a couple things. I noted that the mats that came with Badlands Bronco, which I have, they have that same pattern that he likes to do to his floor mats, but his floor mats are, bespoke and out of higher end materials, obviously, but they are put together in the same fashion, let's put it that way. The piping around the exterior perimeter of the mat, etc., etc. So I think he's breathed on certain things in slight ways that only he can divulge, but I've kind of noticed. So, it's kind of a thing of his and his aesthetic, and I appreciate what he tries to do, but as these people who get deep into their craft can do, he gets a little bit, he can sew a yarn and make out something more concerning than it actually is. Like he's really over the top on chains rattling or things making noise that shouldn't be there, or they were designed that way and they were simplistic tools. In the case of the Chevy Thriftmaster trucks that he does, they were utilitarian, and he kind of gets into that as he recognizes it as he's taking the artistic appreciation of that style of truck beyond its intended use, and then some. But he does some neat work, so I guess you have to take it as it comes. But anyways, the Bronco has some features that either he and Paul Wraith, the designer of the Bronco, kind of hashed out in concert, or he had some input. Like I said, the mats were the most overt thing that I noticed. But there's other things that might not be so obvious that I haven't really seen any great detail. I know he does the Learjet style translucent sunshades as visors, and even though those are quite nifty, they don't come with dual vanity mirrors, which the Bronco does, which I didn't expect the Bronco to have vanity mirrors in each sun visor. So that's kind of appreciated, but not necessary. And in this price point of a vehicle, you would kind of expect that, I guess. I haven't bought anything in the $50,000 range, so how would I know? I guess the Volvo S60R that I have, that was in the 40 to 50 range new, and the Super Duty certainly was. I have 2.5 Super Duties, 2 full trucks and a frame set with 4-wheel drive. So, the Bronco, or the Super Duty, was a premium vehicle that cost in the vicinity of 45 to 70, 75. I had a friend that had a Super Duty dually crew cab, one of the nice black and gold ones. It was an XLT, and I imagine that thing had to be in the 70 to 75 range. I never asked. It was the 7.3 liter diesel that's highly sought after now, and I imagine it's worth every bit as much as it was brand new as now, if it's still in reasonably good shape. So, anyways, kind of rambling. I don't care. I don't know if you're going to be interested in watching me drive, but I'm on the southwest outskirts of South Bend, Indiana, rolling along on US 20 towards the interstate, which is 8090, that cuts across the northern tier of Indiana. And I'm trying to be as hands-off and observant as I can be while I'm rattling on about various. So we're think that this is a loud vehicle, and I don't see it. I'm very comfortable. It's quiet in here. I haven't put a decibel meter to it yet, but I have the phone app, and that should be plenty accurate to assess the decibel level of the interior of this. I think they do it usually at 70 miles an hour. So I am doing 60 right now, and I hope you can hear me clearly and there's no background noise. I know maybe the phone was having some difficulty with the microphone earlier, but I haven't replayed one since. So I just whizzed by on a crotch rocket. Yeah, I'm just kind of rolling along. You can probably see the scenery beside me. I've got some things in the back. I got a bedroll. I've got my pillow. I've got some blankets in case it gets a little chilly in Wisconsin. I'm planning on spending 2 nights in Wisconsin, although I might try to make it as far back to Indiana as possible Saturday night, but it'll be kind of late when they have a aerobatics show that goes from dusk till pretty deep into the evening with basically they have these gigantic sparkler systems on some aerobatic airplanes, and really doing aerobatics at night, it's a bit sketchy, but they seem to do a decent job of it, and it's not terribly, congested, let's put it that way. But the attraction of the show is there's a bit of camaraderie between people who are interested in mechanical things and aerospace items, airplanes, private civilian aviation. I'm probably not legally, health-wise, capable of getting my pilot's license due to my vision. I'm not sure what I've never looked into it terribly. I know getting your pilot's license is pretty expensive, so I haven't really gone down that avenue, and frankly I don't have any real reason to fly other than for travel and leisure experience. But parking an aircraft in an airport, and even I've worked for a non-commercial entity that unloaded aircraft in the morning, so they were the point of contact at the South Bend Regional Airport. So if you did fly into South Bend, they would be where you parked your airplane and disembarked as a portal. So I'm familiar with that world a little bit more than the average Joe. But really, I've been able to drive anywhere I really wanted to go. I was in Marquette, Michigan, which is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, on Lake Superior, last fall into the winter. And even if I had an aircraft, I wouldn't want to fly up there and get into icing conditions and all that weirdness. That's just asking for trouble. So, if I were to fly anywhere, it would be west or south, maybe to the east, but then you run into the issue of not having a vehicle where you land up. So it's kind of one of those things where unless you're going point to point, it's kind of pointless. So maybe someday, I don't know. There are some aircraft that are somewhat appealing. There's some, basically I would be in the short takeoff and landing class of experimentals is what I would be more interested in than not. There's a couple aircraft called Kit Foxes, or there's the Bush Cat from South Africa. I don't even know if there's still a going entity. There's I think Kit Foxes, or one of those, are based out of Bloomington, Indiana, as a distributor. I haven't really looked into it terribly much, but I'll probably take some films as I walk along with my setup as clunky as it is. I don't really have I didn't grab my monopole. Frankly, I didn't know where the hell it is, so I moved 2 years ago, and everything's still kind of everywhere it landed. It hasn't really been unboxed. Basically been living out of a RV or boxes for the last decade of my life anyway, so with the new house, even then, it's still, you are where you're at, and time, energy, money, pick two kind of thing. It's always the weather aspect. Really, I was home the first 6 months of being on site and moved into the place, but I was just focused on doing the job that I was working with at the time. It was during COVID and everybody's locked down, and didn't feel like really doing the home ownership thing at that point. I was pretty burnt out from preparing the previous house for sale and repairing a lot of things, and I basically spent the whole summer of 2019 fixing a variety of things in the old house so it wouldn't be a burden on the new owner. So it is what it is. I needed a break and I took it. So, knowing how things kind of sorted out now, and hindsight being 2020, wish I would have done a couple more things than I used to do. Like I said, it's sometimes you just have to take a break from things. I think everybody kind of understands it. I was pretty burnt out at that point, so I haven't heard any grief from everybody. This summer, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, probably not. I haven't been getting much views on my activities, and it is what it is. But I've been preparing my yard and the building with the gracious loaning of my neighbor's backhoe. Really embracing that and enjoying a bit of some of the videos that I kind of watch are construction oriented. I have a little bit of background in commercial construction from my youth, but yeah, I've never operated heavy machinery before, and I think I took to it pretty well. I've got an understanding of how things work, which I think benefits somebody who hasn't run equipment, jumps into something, and it's all familiar from the things I've watched, but also I understand how the systems are designed and how they work, the hydraulics and the levers and all the switchgear and whatnot, and I figured it out pretty quickly and learned how to move it in multiple axes at once and shared the hydraulic power that was available, and that's always fun to figure out and gain proficiency on. I'm getting on to 80-90 right now. I just went through the Easy Pass recognition, and there's a Jeep Gladiator ahead of me, so I'm letting him on a little bit so I can merge, giving it the beans, and slowing to behind the 18-wheeler ahead of me, and then merging into the outer lane so I don't get rock chips all over the nose of my Bronco. And we are underway, setting the speed at 72. Sometimes this cruise control is not exactly Johnny on the spot for taking command. Put the phaser back down so you can actually see me. There we go. Kind of got a little weird reflection going on off the hood. I think somebody mentioned doing a matte wrap on the hood bulge, and I was like, don't really need it, but as you can see, there was a reflection going across my face. Come back in a second as I pass a semi that illuminates the bill of my hat anyway for the reflection. So I guess there is a bit of a glare there from the power dome. So let's reset the cruise control to 71, and we're heading west. I believe I have anything programmed into the nav. That's the other thing that kind of bugs me is I have a bunch of stuff saved in my Garmin for the life of me, there's no way to port that from one system to another. It's 2022 and we're still not able to share favorited. I've poked around with the Android system. Some people rave about certain features of Android, but to be honest, the portability of the favorites, the wanna-goes, the starred things, the save places or whatnot, it doesn't come through on the Android Audio. Some guy was saying, oh, Android Auto is going to be better. It's like, what is Android Auto? Is it basically, I'm familiar somewhat with BlackBerry Research and Motion's QNX systems have been used fairly, not extensively, but they're kind of the backbone in a lot of automotive systems as far as I've heard. I'm not deep into that space, so particulars of that. So I'm on 22 minutes now. Not sure if this is interesting or not, listening to me ramble on, but I'm just kind of talking about various things that are affiliated with the use of the vehicle so far. I'm pretty excited about the way that I've kind of settled into the truck. It's very comfortable. People were bitching about the seats, and frankly, I think they're probably mongoloids or short or extremely tall. I'm the 95 percentile male, 5'11", and 280 at the moment. Standard, pretty beefy frame at this point, but I fit in most vehicles that I have had the pleasure of using or being a passenger in, and this feels a bit more comfortable than the Super Duty without the shocking or just the abuse that live front axle offers. That truck is pretty abusive to drive on a regular basis. It's just, it's a brute force, heavy duty vehicle with leaf springs all around, and it just has a habit of wearing you out after about 6-8 hours of driving that thing. You've about had enough. And I've yet to have any fatigue problems driving the Bronco. It has, kind of the characteristic body movement of a Wrangler without the jarring suspension issues that two live axles cause. It does have a live axle, so it will wander a little bit with the rear end, but the front end is very planted. I've done some not ridiculously spirited driving, but I've gotten it to rotate and do some things that most people wouldn't know how to do. Just kind of flinging a vehicle about and handling. The handling is very benign, very compliant. I haven't done any hoonage. I haven't drifted it or hung the tail out and done anything ridiculous. I usually had a passenger with me for the last 2 weeks anyways, so I'm not going to be testing the limits of my new vehicle with him in it. So I've been shuttling a co-worker back and forth that worked with me in Marquette, Michigan. So, we've done a fair amount of driving already. I'm at 1,550 miles and about a mile and a half here. There's looks like a Western hauler conversion going past me right now. Yeah, that's a nice rig. It's a horse trailer. I've seen a lot of horse trailers. That's not a horse trailer, though. That's a Featherlight. Nice trailer. New York. It looks like a horse trailer, but it's boxier, so it's probably got a vehicle or two in there. Triple singles. Nice. It was a Freightliner FL Series 70 or 120 or whatever it is. Crew cab. 45 minutes in. And I don't know if anybody's gonna care to watch this, but this is my first time broadcasting just me talking into a camera set up with a microphone, so I'll probably review this before I upload it. And if you're seeing this, I didn't find anything terrible about it. So anyways, I'm on my way to Oshkosh. I will talk to you again later.